When I was 3.5 years old, child policy took me away from my parents. So I came to live with my step-parents. But that did not go well for such a long time. So child policy took me away again. And that's why I traveled around in the Netherlands and been on 27 different places until I was 18 years old.
Wow. I mean, that's quite an intense childhood.
Yes, it was.
When you said you were traveling around, does that mean you were homeless or you were like...
No, different child groups, because I was not 18 years old. They could decide where I need to live. And every place there I was too young. There I could not stay for longer than 3 months. And that's why I moved 27 times around until I was 18 years old. So I never had one place that I could call my home, actually.
And is that like different foster families, or is that...
No, it's really only children are there.
like an orphanage?
Yes, orphanage, yes. 27 different ones.
What's it like growing up in different orphanages? Like,
it was not nice. You could not be a child. You was really a grown-up when you was already very small and of course very sensitive, but you could not be a child. It was not allowed there. So
how do you mean?
Whether you could not play in the garden, lots of times you could not go outside, 24 locked up in the room. It happens a lot. When you are growing, you could eat only 3 times a day. And when you want a snack, it was simply not there. Sometimes you could not even eat apple because they had 10 apples and you live there with 12 children. So 10 children get an apple and you just get not. Lots of medications they give you there. I have a paper. There's 56 different types of medication, antidepressant, sleeping pills. They test a lot of children there in the orphanages because they need to test the medication somewhere. And that's the place where they do it, because there they can do it in secret because you have no parents to watch at you and say, oh, my child, there's something wrong with her. But you cannot. They have doctors and everything inside there, so they can keep everything secret.
And what's the atmosphere like there? Do you kind of bond with the other children, I guess, because you're there together? Or is it a tough environment? Or
you have a living room where you are together. You can also go together on the school. That's inside the building also. But you cannot talk a lot because every time you have those adults who are watching you, you need to keep by the rules. So I drink a glass and I put it here, they come and they say, you need to put it here, and then they're going to count and they see if I took something else. Every child just becomes a criminal when you're there. So everything what you do, you are doing wrong. They give you therapy. They make you a criminal. Lots of children come there because of abuse of their parents. My mother was on drugs, very bad, and my father also, drugs and alcohol. And they abused more of my brothers and sisters. So they took my sister away, me and my little brother. But after there were born 6 more kids. And those kids, they never took away. So they get abused, a lot. But the kids also who came in those groups, they became more abused than that there should have been. Because there are many grown-ups who just like to be abusive against the child. And they really try to break the kids who are there inside. So that's...
And how old were you when you leave that system?
18 years. They can keep you until you're 18, and when you're not smart enough and they kick you down for such a long time, you want to kill yourself, you go on drugs, a lot of kids do really just do not survive or do never get a home, never get a job. So I can stay there until I'm 18, and then they put me on the street. So I was never on the street, I was from my 3.5 until I was 18, I lived inside these groups. So there is no television. You have no Christmas. You have nothing there. So when you are 18, you get pushed on the street with your bags and everything. They say, we cannot keep you here anymore. We do not get paid for it anymore. Take care of your own life. Then I was on the streets. So then I need to find out where I should go to live. So I lived a little bit everywhere until I I found a house that I could rent, but it was really not easy because of my background. So I just could not do what an average person could, and yeah, that's
Yeah, it sounds like I'm speechless, to be honest. And I guess something like that like shapes you a lot, and I think those kind of experiences can make you quite hard. But
yes.
you're not.
I'm still very sensitive. I'm always open-minded. You know, I was, of course, depressed for a long time, very sad with my life. But they always told me it was my fault because I was born and that was the mistake. So I blamed my whole life for it. Just my kindness, just everything. You know, I did right. They punished me. So it was wrong. And they never will tell you something that you did good. So it was my personality failure, my complete existence. And after that, I always told them when I'm 18, I will look up for my parents. I go visit them because I was not allowed to. Until I was 18, they say you cannot visit your brothers, not your sisters, but also not your parents, not your family. So I did not know my grandparents. I did not know anyone. I did not know even the existence that my family exists, about 300 living people. I only knew 4 of them until I was 18 years. And then I could travel on my own. And then I searched for my family. And I did go there and go to their houses, meet them in person. And I want to know if the stories were true. Lots of them were true, but in a different way.
Yeah, there's different perspectives on stories, isn't there?
Yes, they should have taken me away. That was the right thing to do. But they never checked in on different family members who want to take us in. So we had lots of family who could take us in, lots of family who did not have criminal records, who did nothing wrong. They could care for us. They wanted to care for us. But the child policy said, no, we're not going to do it. And we take these children and we put them everywhere in the Netherlands. And that's how it happened.
It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
Are you close with some family now?
Yes, I meet some uncles, cousins in Germany, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and I never knew that there were normal people in my family because they never told me. They kept it a secret. And when my parents, when I was in the group and they tried to send me a card for my birthday, they put it in a box. So they say, no, your parents do not think about you. Your family is not thinking about you. And when I was 18, you know, I get this huge freaking box and all the cards from birthdays, Christmas, everything was in there. All the years that I thought that my family had forgotten me, they were actually thinking about me, but they could never contact me because they put it in the box behind me.
How did it feel opening that box?
It was very sad. Very, very sad, yes. Because I always thought I was alone. My family put me away and I was chanceless, you know. I did not have any and they did only care about themselves. And that was not the truth. They, lots of times they fight to get us back, but they never stood a chance.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, no, I've never heard of anything like that before. No, I guess maybe that's just a sign of how privileged a life I've had, I guess.
Yes, it's the latest years. It's coming now a little bit on television. Children, first they were scared to talk about it because they would say you're crazy. It's your fault you're sitting there. Yes, you have children. It's their fault. They really did not have any respect for their parents. They were aggressive towards people or cars or some different stuff or use drugs on a young age. You know, you have very, very different types. But the reason I was there is just because my parents could not take care of me. And for this to come at such places and get abused, you know, again and again and again, mental, but also for your body, that's just that a child cannot, how you say it, when you grow up, a child is still growing up, so
yeah, even adults are still growing, I think. So
right, but they tore that apart. So when you are 18, I mean, most of the kids are not healthy. Most of the kids are very depressed, have no life, have no not knowing, their families, nothing.
Yeah, and how much warning do you get that you're going to have to leave?
That was when I was 18. They pushed me on the street on my birthday. So on
Your birthday?
Yes, they are not allowed to keep you one day longer. They are really allowed just to keep you until your birthday, and then you just go. Yeah.
Happy birthday, fuck off, basically.
Right. Yes, you get your stuff, and really the place, even if you did live there for 5 years, when your birthday is there, these people do not know you anymore. Doors are closing. They do not know you anymore. You can also never come back there.
And how much warning do you get? Is there like a plan? And it's like, okay, in 1 year, you're going to be leaving. So you need to do this, this, and this. It's not like a surprise, right?
For some kids, there is help. I mean, they say, yes, you have 1 year, then you're 18. You should see which school you want to go. For a job you want to look for, what you want to do. But for me, no, there was nothing, because I lived already there my whole life. I was just a number. So they could, because my whole life was in there, they could never show a school that I was outside on a school. They could never, I was handled like a criminal, just like a number. And that's why I did not have the right what other kids had when I came outside. So, you come there on the street with your stuff and you go search for a place to live, right?
What, literally, you're just walking around town?
With your bags.
Are you
there
serious?
You go. Yes. That's 90%, 95% of the children have this when they're 18 years old.
And did you get a job or what?
No, I never get a job. I was on over 30 places because I really wanted to work. I want to feel like a normal person, and I really wanted it. I was very creative, had lots of energy, and I love to work. So I go in the city, in the last city where I sat on this group, and I go there in the city, and everywhere I gave my CV, where I worked, what I did, because I did some stuff, but not professionally, but for my step-parents, for their job, or... So I could only tell this, and that's why I never get answers. Then later I go to the store where they sell clothes, and I ask, I came here, I talked with you, you like me, it was, you think I had a chance for the job. But actually I did not, because they say yes. And then we searched for your history, where did you live? They just make one call, they know where I live. And every time when they know I live there, no one wants to have me, nobody.
Wow.
Nobody. And also, it's not only this, it's the police, it's everyone who is against you. So if I want to get help somewhere, I just get treated like an animal and not like a human being, because you have rights, because you are a Dutch person, you are here, you grow up with normal parents, so you have an existent life. I can only show my addresses, and that's why they say, you better go there. We did not see you here.
Yeah, I guess I've never just comprehended that an address would be a negative thing.
Really negative, yes. And the consequences are just huge. When I come out, I just say I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be anything. I simply cannot be. I simply cannot, because no school wants to have me. They search where I have been, and...
Or even schools wouldn't have you?
Even schools, yes. Because I was inside their schools, and there you can get tested, every year for an exam or something. And then you make it, and then the end of the year they say, yeah, but you make it in here. So outside you cannot use it. So every year I go there to school, and for 6 years maybe, I did the same. I get the same books, every time the same, because some groups are working together and some groups are not. So if you such many years as me in those groups, you know that lots of books are the same and you do not come farther. And every time they tell you, yes, now you make the test, now you can go outside to a school, go for your MBO or something, but you simply cannot, because these papers are only allowed for the inside, like children can act like they are on school, but...
So there's like 2 parallel school systems, like
Absolutely.
One for orphans and one for...
For the outside world, for the normal people, yes. Your books are so stupid that it's not making for you for your intelligence. You all get the same book. So it's the basic. And when you say, that's easy for me, I already did this 3 times, it doesn't matter. I mean, you still have to do it. And then you come out and then you see you learned nothing inside and your possibilities are just gone because you are already 18. What you going to do now? Are you going to be a student? How you want to be a student? You have no money. You have no context. Only thing you know was that place and you cannot come there anymore. So you're on your own. And that's what lots of people go back to drugs, already have early children, or still on this day do not have a house or did not find themselves back.
I guess that happened to a lot of your peer group.
Yes. It happens everywhere in the Netherlands. The last few years they talk more about it, I see also. But still not enough. And lots of people or children who talk have been there for 2 years or 3 years. I've been there for over 10 years, 15 years to be exact. So it's a whole different story. Yeah. And the information I have it's a lot. And still lots of people do not know that it's very dangerous for children also to be in there.
And do you think that was a factor in you getting into sex work? Like, how did that happen?
I really enjoyed sex. I enjoyed sex a lot. So I knew that when I would become 18 years old, I knew I would go to a sex club and would work there. Yes.
That's like, yeah, I mean, that's like quite an unusual thing to say. Like you knew before you were 18 that you would go into that.
My mother was a whore, you know? She was a prostitute. So, but she did not do it right. She worked with drugs, with alcohol. She would even do it for a bottle. I was her child, and the only thing I knew of her is that she was very bad and making bad decisions. I did not want to be this way, you know? She was a sick woman. She did not do the stuff right. And I thought I could handle myself, you know? When my mother is like this, and I already know this, I can take care of myself, of my health. I can do it. So, yes, when I was 18 and...
You were thinking this like while you were in the orphanage?
Yes, of course, yes. Because my whole life was already there. So it was my first chance to go outside. When I say I want to have a job at the supermarket, of course, I was not allowed because they could see the papers and I could not live there or work there. But I could be a prostitute, you know, they would not look at my papers, they would not look at where I lived. So I could be that. And I know I would have lots of fun in the job also. But so I traveled immediately to Germany. And that's why I started in my first private house.